Agriculture is a gateway to food sufficiency. Climatic conditions, however, determine how well different food crops thrive. There is also the application of technology to scale up food production in the interest of adequacy. That nonetheless, no technology can beat the hands of nature in the cultivation of food crops for it to be organic and most healthy for consumption. The rains are here, and it is the best time to till the land and cultivate food crops. Faced with high cost of food commodities, the expediency for all to move to the farms should be instinctive for every Nigerian. And that is why this edition of Dateline 360 will examine the various interventions across the states to ensure that the wet season is maximized for food production and bumper yield. I'm Omotola Omojola. Thanks for tuning in. The Nigerian Meteorological Agency earlier predicted that the rains will stabilize in the month of June in all parts of the country, but the period of the rain will be short above the normal situation. With the stability of the rains, farming activities have commenced across the country as farmers take advantage to grow more food for the country. Dateline 360 observed that high cost of inputs, especially fertilizer, remains a challenge. So let's join Musa Babali for details.
The heavens have opened again, the rains coming in torrents, and the Nigerian farmers are already back to doing what they know best. Rain-fed farming is most practiced in Nigeria. The prediction this year is that the rains will come early and cease early. Farmers are advised to plant early maturing seeds, especially farmers in the northern parts of the country.
Try to see that the farmer maximizes the land size to get optimum plant population. So we encourage them here to plant one seed per stand, and then the planting spacing, the distance between each plant is being reduced from what they usually do from 75 centimeter between plants and now to 25 centimeter, which ensure the land is better maximized and utilized. And also among the technologies we are teaching the farmers is how to better use fertilizers and agrochemicals. So typically the farmer will come and broadcast or site place this fertilizer underneath the plant stand, which is not so good practice.
This farmer told me that their major challenge this year is high cost of inputs. The cost of fertilizer is a major challenge. A bag is above 50,000 naira, he says. Investigation reveals that exchange rate and cost of transportation were responsible for the scarcity and high cost of the inputs.
Instead of the price coming down, when the dollar is coming down, we had expected the price of the dollar to be also coming down. In the immediate, government has that executive power to actually break the monopoly power of those people that are controlling and distributing this fertilizer. So if that is done, fertilizer will be readily available at affordable prices by the masses, because if you look at the bulk of these farmers, especially in villages, are poor.
However, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture has received donation of 200 million bags of fertilizer worth 10 billion naira from the Central Bank of Nigeria. The ministry has already commenced the distribution of the input to states to cushion the effects of high cost of fertilizer.
What we're trying to do is we try to, Mr. President, as assiduously trying to curb insecurity in those promising areas, and at the same time increase production in agriculture. But what we need to do, research in good seed, shorten cultivation period, drought-resistant crops, heat-resistant crops, and also do all year-round farming. This is something that we're looking into.
In the area of seed supply, the Agricultural Seed Council of Nigeria is ensuring that farmers have access to high-quality seeds this year.
Now, for the first time after so many years of abandonment, we are reviving the National Seed Framework. We've challenged them to have meeting, because what normally happens is you need to know, for example, what is the demand for maize, for rice, for sorghum, for cowpea, for this and that.
With this deliberate agricultural policy, the hope of bumper harvest is renewed. There is the belief and optimism that more food will be produced at the end of the season. Musa Baba Aliyu for Dateline 360.
From that federal government perspective, let's move to the state, and we start from Jigawa, where Mohammed Musa Askira reports that farmers are all out on the farms. The 2024 rainy season, his inquisition reveals, is welcomed by both the government and the enthusiastic farmers with hope for a bumper harvest on a scale better than usual for food sufficiency and export. This is so because of subsidy on agricultural inputs advanced to the farmers by the state government. The report.
To complement the efforts of the federal government to ensure food security and sustainable national growth, the Jigawa state government since inception has been mobilizing farmers to scale up production in both dry and rainy seasons and improve the entire agricultural value chain for effective, efficient and productive farming in the state. In the just concluded dry season farming in Jigawa State, while 55,000 hectares of farmlands have been cultivated for wheat through the collaboration between the federal and the Jigawa State government with the support of the African Development Bank, about 1.6 million tons of wheat have been produced, bridging the national wheat demand by 27%. With an average yield of 4 tons per hectare, Jigawa State is preparing to support the cultivation of 250,000 hectares of rice this rainy season to maintain its position of second, if not the first, leading producer of rice, wheat, hibiscus, and sesame, among others. To make this possible, the Jigawa state government under the present administration has made interventions in various ways to ensure a bountiful 2024 cropping season. Parts of these interventions include the procurement of 60 units of tractors and distributed to the 27 local government areas of the state to operate at about 50% discount in the service fee on each farm the tractors plow.
Even though Jigawa State was the highest producer of wheat, but there was never a time when wheat was produced like what is produced in this season. And I want to assure you that by next year, our production will double. We are targeting 250,000 hectares because we have what it takes. The land is there. We have potential for underground water exploration there. We have a young team, youth farming population, which we can drive to achieve that. And of course, we have a committed government that have a political will to drive the process of where we are going.
The purchase of 220 trucks of assorted fertilizer being sold to the farmers at a 38% discount and the support to farmers across the state with improved and climate-resilient seeds and agrochemicals, among others, targeting at mechanizing the 2024 cropping season in the state for higher output.
Our objective is to reposition JASCO not only to be an input supplier, but at the same time to be a manufacturer of inputs. Also our objective to reposition JADA to pay more attention and more emphasis on research and extension services.
With a population of about 7.6 million people, out of which 85% are farmers, and about 1.5 million hectares of arable land suitable for both dry and rainy season farming, Jigawa State is not only strategic in the drive to attain national food security, but also a dependable ally in the federal government's economic diversification project for an economically viable and prosperous country. From Dutse, Muhammad Musa Askira for Dateline 360.
Ondo State is blessed with a favorable climatic condition that allows all year-round farming. With a large population of peasant farmers across the state, efforts are ongoing by the state government to encourage more people to realize their dreams of becoming large-scale farmers. Paul Omukago tells us more on the wet season farming in the Sunshine State.
Investigations show that an appreciable number of Ondo State residents are into one form of farming or the other. For this season, crops like maize, tomato, pepper, rice, cocoyam, cassava, and yam, among others, are being cultivated in the state. This species of yam, popularly known as water yam, were cultivated some few weeks back. Unlike those who are in the riverine area who are already warming up for harvest, these ones here will be here up until the end of the wet season for good yields. To further broaden their knowledge in farming, agricultural experts periodically carry out trainings with different groups of farmers, particularly those who wish to go into large-scale farming. The farmers say they are ready to have a robust partnership with agencies and investors for mechanized farming to thrive.
Insecurity in the country is a national problem, and as farmers, we don't have much to do than look onto government because we cannot take the law into our hands. But on this note, we are leading to government, though they have been trying.
Let us have 1,000 or minimum 500 armed people per local government. Either they are going to be under the supervision of the IG or the supervision of the military or joint body to oversee them. Let them man those locations where we have farming communities. Let people be able to go to their farm. Let them be assured that whatever they plant, they will harvest.
We are talking of food security, which we are clamoring for. There should be this urban farming. Any vacant land in your vicinity, make sure you farm on it.
Besides creating the enabling environment for farmers, what is the state government doing to boost agricultural activities?
Submitted about 47,000 names for this wet season farming to the federal government, and we are not waiting for that only. We are also encouraging our people to come together as clusters so that we can help them clear the land. Of course, the major problem here, because of our terrain, is the clearing of land.
Experts say farming in Ondo State is not just an occupation, but a business capable of improving internally generated revenue and a prospective employer of labor if given the necessary attention. A greater percentage of the people are into subsistence farming, and with modern technology, they are calling for more collaboration and partnership between farmers in the state and the government. This is to enable more people go into mechanized farming, or what we refer to as large-scale farming. For Dateline 360, Paul Omukaru.
The 2024 wet season farming in Ebonyi State has taken a new dimension with the introduction of mechanized farming. The state government, alongside local farmers, Caleb Ogbonna reports, have keyed into the federal government's drive to make agriculture the fulcrum of the renewed hope agenda, and that all efforts are geared towards engendering food security, stifling inflation, and boosting the nation's GDP for all-round development.
Blessed with arable lands, Ebonyi State has over the years contributed its quota to the food security of the country, as evidenced by its renowned Abakaliki rice. However, it is believed that its agricultural potential has not been fully maximized, which informed the state government's paradigm shift in policy and programs through the introduction of modern method of farming and revitalization of the state fertilizer production company to complement the federal government's intervention of farm inputs and fertilizers to the state, all geared towards food sufficiency and economic boost.
80,000 bags of rice, 26,000 bags of fertilizers. These rice are going to be handed over to the local government chairman, down to the ward, down to the village. And Mr. President has given us 30 trucks of farm input and fertilizers.
For the farmers, the present inflation has made farming capital intensive, which calls for subsidization of fertilizers, farm inputs, and provision of modern tools of farming such as tractors by government at all levels.
This is my farm. You can see it. All the thing we make them, it never grow. We say we no put them fertilizer as it's supposed to be. That is why the thing still dey small like this. We are begging state government to come to our aid, to help us, to come and help us, at least something like fertilizer, tractors where we could use the farm. this time around they know they use manpower again, so that food go dey yapun.
As a farmer, I know what to do to make a good harvest. But my problem is money. So I'm pleading with the government to help me with farm inputs, even tractors to help me do the farm.
He promised the farmers that before the wet season, flag off of the wet season 2024, that he will distribute brand new tractors so that it will help them to prepare their land, because it's one of the challenges we are having here, as the farmers are having here.
With the recognition that the agricultural sector could be one of the most viable contributors to the nation's GDP and a key projector in changing the present inflation rate, the government and citizens of Ebonyi State have all embraced mechanized and subsistence farming for food sufficiency. For Dateline 360, Caleb Obunna, NTA News.
And from Gombe, Joseph Zana Gambo reports that the state government is taking the lead in the application of modern techniques and methods in crop production, with more than 80% of rural farmers mobilized for the success of the 2024 wet season farming.
Farmers in Gombe are cultivating their farmlands like their counterparts across the country as the wet season sets in.
These farmers who spoke in Hausa said they are prepared for the new planting season, but however lament the high cost of fertilizers and other farming inputs.
Being an agrarian state, Gombe is largely known for the cultivation of crops such as sorghum, maize, groundnut, millet, beans, rice, and tomatoes. In order to make the best of this year's wet season farming, Gombe State government is complementing efforts of the federal government through the commencement of early distribution of fertilizers and agrochemical products to farmers.
We have fertilizer companies in Gombe in which the governor is interested in even asking investors to come and invest in the area of agriculture.
If the government will be able to provide those inputs, as they have said, in a good time, it will definitely help the farmers, and at the same time will have a proper harvest at the end of the season.
Farmers in the state are also being mobilized for the success of the 2024 planting season, as extension workers are deployed to the 11 local government areas of the state to equip farmers with modern techniques of farming to achieve bumper yield at minimal cost.
Recently, we enumerated the farmers were expecting to be received some boosting from the Federal Ministry of Agriculture. Our targeted farmers now has increased without that fear of insecurity because of what we are suffering now in the market.
To effectively mitigate the recurring incidents of herders-farmers conflict, a dispute prevention and resettlement committee is constituted by the government to evolve strategies and mechanisms that will foster harmonious coexistence between both parties.
During the last season, the last dry season, at the end of the season of last year, really it works. The government intervention about the herders and the farmers, it works, because the government were able to announce that the herders should not come until when the farmers were able to evacuate all their things from the farm. And those who become victims are those who were late. So which means that committee does really help.
We want to use this media to call on the farmers and herders to maintain that peaceful coexistence that they are having among themselves. Farmers should not encourage into cattle routes or grazing reserves.
To achieve food sufficiency, stakeholders believe that government at all levels must collaborate in ensuring farmers have access to farm input in good time. In Gombe, Joseph Zanagambo, NTA News.
Now we go to the food basket of the nation, where Moses Ajau Ode reports that commitment of the Benue State government towards boosting food production is on a high pedestal towards achieving high yield during the harvest season.
To avert rising challenges of food shortage and hunger, relevant agencies of government and organizations are taking the bull by the horn to address the factors militating against agricultural growth and development.
They will be judiciously, the tractors that have arrived will be judiciously utilized to help Benue farmers, specifically not for farming operation, but to create a green belt. To reduce desert encroachment and to also mitigate the effect of climate change on our environment and on farmers.
Benue State, according to the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, have an annual precipitation of between 1,240 to 1,440 millimeters, which helps in boosting varieties of crop growth and making farming activities the mainstay of the economy. However, in recent times, food production have come under severe threats due to farmer-header conflict, which have resulted to reduced manpower for agricultural production.
If a small loan can be given to farmers within the state, not just here, all across the state, that's one. Second, a tractor can come in, although the issue of tractor can reach every person. But if people are grouped and the tractor is shared among them in the groups, fine. If fertilizer comes in, it's one thing that makes farm grow very well.
It is in response to the challenge that the Benue State government repositioned the state security outfit, the Livestock Volunteer Guard, to partner with other security agencies in curbing the menace. Applauding the collaborative effort of the state and federal government in providing farm inputs and improved variety of climate-smart seedlings to farmers in the state at subsidized rate, State Chairman, All Farmers Association, Aondo Ngusaku, expressed the farmers' resolve to remain committed and sustain the fight against food shortage and hunger.
Of course, the fertilizer is in stock. The one that is yet to come is urea. NPK 2010 is available. People have been carrying it since last week. In the market, it is up to 40, 45, but the governor has subsidized it to 17,500, which is very good for us.
He commended the security agencies for their commitment in the sustenance of peace so far and assured of a bumper harvest if the peace is sustained across the season. With the commitment of government at all levels in providing farm inputs, including chemicals and improved varieties of seedlings, it is hoped that food insecurity would soon be a thing of the past. Moses Ajao Udi, reporting for Dateline 360.
And that report concludes this edition of Dateline 360. I am Omotola Omojola, and on behalf of the production crew, I thank you for the pleasure of your company. God bless Nigeria.